Even YC had 5 companies funded in last couple of years. Most of them have been either acquired or shut down, or they're struggling. Because when I announced on LinkedIn day before yesterday, I have been reached out by almost 10 competitors, and I'm meeting most of them and I'm having calls because they now tell me that they are also having similar thoughts. Given wine bottles and all those things, you give that, you get a quote and you put it on your website. That's very simple. It's a $20-30 price which you pay. But
Man, you're spilling industry secrets now. Today, I'm joined by Prashant, founder of Zeda, an AI-powered platform that aims to transform product management. Prashant has built products at Paytm, Tokopedia, and Silicon Valley unicorns before taking the leap to start his own company. In this episode, we dive into his journey, what inspired him to build Zeda, the hard truth about scaling a startup, and ultimately why he decided to shut it down. If you want an unfiltered look on what it takes to build and walk away from a venture-backed startup, this one is for you. What is Zeda.io?
yeah, so let's start with Zeda.io. What is it? I'll start with the original vision which I had, and I'll also tell what it is in current state, and then why I started. You'll get it. So the idea was to build one platform for product teams, uh, and that's which was powered by AI. So imagine GitHub for product teams powered by AI, GitHub Copilot. Journey started when I had been PM for 6 years, and I was not I was reading something like on your podcast. I'll watch some high profile speaker come and say, you should do this, this, this. And when I actually go to work, nothing is happening. And I was like, why is there so much gap? And then I started reaching out to other people, bigger companies. And I'm talking about companies like Facebook, Microsoft, and all these big names. And I asked the product team there, are you happy? Like, is it my problem? And they were like, no, this is problem everywhere. I talked to 500 people, uh, and they all said they have problem. And then I thought, someone is going to change it. I want to be the one who changes it rather than becomes a user. So I started Zeda for that, where I wanted to simplify product management, help people ship the right product faster. I wanted PMs to spend more time on strategic work rather than operational work. You can imagine right now, a lot of PMs do operational work, updating Jira ticket, updating this document, all those things. But the strategic work is messed up. I want to do that. So now just coming to the final leg, which is what is in current state. After a lot of trial, error, playing around with product, getting feedback, launching it, becoming number one product on Product Hunt, and then failing also, we narrowed down the product to B2B SaaS companies, product teams, where we were enabling them to listen to customers at scale. So think this way that product management generally covers 4 pieces: discovery, what you're going to build, why you're going to build, planning, which is prioritization across the company. Does it align with the company goal? Does it, how much resources to allocate? All those things. Third is the developing, which is writing PIDs, developers doing their work, Figma, uh, any other research or grunt work. And then launching, where you launch it out, A/B test, track the metric, and then repeat the cycle. We were trying to become one solution for all, and that did not work out. Then we narrowed down that we were going to play in discovery and planning phase, at least for now, and then we'll see building and launch phase. So for B2B companies, we were helping them get all the customer voice from sales, support, customer success, user survey, any channel you can imagine, bring it to Zeda, because your manager will say, hey, Mahmood, you should build a good product. You should listen to customer. But how can you listen to customer if you don't have data? And the data is with salesperson, support person, and all those. So bringing it together. And now imagine you get all the data. You cannot analyze it at scale. So we built an AI to analyze it and then making plan out of it. That what should be a Jira ticket, what should be the roadmap. So that's what Zeda currently does, helping B2B teams listen to customers at scale and converting them into revenue focused roadmap.
I'm curious, what was your previous experience and how did you got into product that made you confident that you're the right person to build this product?
Luckily, I don't have any other background. So my career started as a PM. I'm an accidental PM. I did not do MBA. I did not study computer science. I tell this story quite often to people. So they came to our college to hire business people, business analysts, category operations. I failed at it. I sucked at it, and he was like, "You are not no good." And I said, "Okay." And I started, like, "Can you give me 1 minute? I just want to tell you your app can be improved." At that time, I didn't know what is product management. We talked, that 1 minute went to 30 minutes. We talked what the app could be, what are different types of users, what are different flows, what are other people doing, where the industry is going. And turns out he was VP of product. And he was like, "You have good product sense, you should join us product." And I just need a job, and I was like, "Okay." And then I loved this journey so much that I continued it. It's been 10 plus years for me now.
And what are the companies that you used to work with before? Because you work in India, Silicon Valley.
I worked in India with Paytm. Paytm is now public company, and it is one of the biggest fintech player in Asia and India. I launched their first fintech product and took it from 0 to 200 million users, $500 million revenue. So that I can proudly say that I launched the first digital payment or QR code based payment in India. Then I worked in Southeast Asia. Again, the biggest e-commerce in Southeast Asia, Tokopedia. I was based in Jakarta working on their AI products. This is AI before AI became cool. So recommendation systems and personalization system and marketing automation systems. And I was working there. And then I worked in Silicon Valley, branch.io, another unicorn. I worked directly with the CEO on their core product. So Branch basically tracks all the attribution. Any ad you see, you click on it, you go to a page, you buy a product, tracking of it is done by Branch. So I worked there, and then I started my own company. I did consult for some time to Japan's biggest company, SoftBank Group, like their subsidiary PayPay in Japan. But after that, I started my own company.
Man, and you know, entrepreneurship, it's very hard and it's not as glamorous. You had worked in really good companies. Why you start your own?
I know. I tell this to everyone who's like, "I'm planning to start up," and I say, "It's why do you want to start up?" And now I can confidently say, after being almost 5 years into the journey, that you should not start up uh, unless and until you cannot sleep at night because of it. So, because startup is glamorous outside, but trust me, you'll be way more successful, financially successful, if you join a big company and stick with it. Like if you join any successful growing company, you join it at right time, you'll be successful. So I think it's true. If to be a founder, you need to have somewhat of insanity in you, somewhat of stupidity, because I was getting paid a lot of money for a 26 years old in my hometown to leave all that and take a leap of faith. And I took it, and it was the best decision of my life. But I tell everyone that it's not a good decision or easy decision unless and until all other options are gone. So, uh, another point just to add to that was 50% of startup is starting up. So once you take that jump, uh, things happen, and I wish it happens to everyone that we got, my co-founder joined, we got funded, we built a team, we got waitlist customers. So just momentum is the key, and insanity a little bit.
Man, you touch on a very important topic. So I consult and mentor a few startups, and the first thing I do when someone comes to me, I tried so hard to convince them not to start it.
Yeah.
And I always quote Charles Bukowski: "If it doesn't comes bursting out of you, don't do it. Don't try." It's his famous quote, man, because it's really, really hard. I don't know why it's very glamorous to start your own. I mean, I had like two startups before. I have several failures, and I know it's not as glamorous as my people put it.
Yeah. It's, I think, uh, yeah, people like, so it's with every field, by the way. You check out how many people want to become actors. We are in tech field, so we see entrepreneur, tech entrepreneur, but you see how many people want to become actors, but there are very few successful actors. So if you see politicians, a lot of people try to, but not everyone can become the prime minister or president or whatever that is. So I think there's a human psychology to it of uh, trying to achieve the rare thing, which is like you could be the next one big thing. Hope. And there's a very beautiful line in Shawshank Redemption. Hope is a dangerous thing. It can drive a man insane. And I think that's the key. But hope is also a good thing. The uh, probably the best thing to happen to the world. And no good thing can ever die. These both lines are in the same movie. So it depends on what part you see.
I'm curious more about the product market fit of Zeda.io, and what inefficiencies in product management tools made you confident that there was a room for Zeda.io?
So when we started Zeda.io, most of the product management tools were focused on planning part. Like I still think that's uh, people associate product management with road mapping, and that comes from the history of product management where project managers became product manager. So road mapping, or documentation. So if you see startups, we also had to build a roadmap, but that was like a byproduct, not the core product. But if you see other, I'll not take names, but you can just search and it's road mapping as the key thing. And I didn't want to do that because roadmaps are just prettier Excel sheets. Technically, yes. So you can take any company and you'll be like, oh yeah, I have talked to people who pay thousands of dollars and they say the same thing that we are not going to renew the license when the cost cutting happen because it's just poor adoption. You have to convince people to join a new on a new tool, build on that. But Excel sheet is the default for everyone or Jira. So that was one problem. I didn't want it to become a project management tool. Second thing was there was no AI powered tool. And I know AI became popular in last 2 3 years, but if you see history of AI, it has been there since almost like 70 years, but at least GitHub Copilot came in 2017, 18, it started making waves. So I was exposed to AI and I wanted to build a product where PMs could be assisted by AI. And I genuinely say that I did never say that I want to replace PMs. You can check all my online content. Never said that. Because imagine if Mahmood, you are going to launch next big thing, next startup, maybe a chat app, and you can get assisted by AI that what are the local demands of that geography, what are the opportunities, what are people saying, and then take care of all the flows like login in a mobile app. You don't have to write the PID for that again. AI can help you. So that was the goal. And at that time, nothing existed. Now the landscape is changing a bit.
And what's one surprising insight you gathered from talking to 200 plus chief product officers?
I'll actually say I have talked to 2000 product people, and out of that, more than that actually, and there will be more than 200 CPOs. Uh, One, product teams don't have any standard flow. You take salespeople, you know they are going to reach out to people, they're gonna get leads, they're gonna get on a call, they're gonna follow a framework, and then they're gonna try to close it. You take engineering, there's a set flow. HR, there's a set flow. Product team happens so differently from place to place. You have worked in multiple companies, so you can see every company works differently, every industry works differently. Within each industry, each company, different teams and different product leaders work differently. So that is one. And second thing is product teams don't have a defined ROI. Now, the tool cannot justify the ROI. Now, what I mean by that is if you talk to salesperson and they took a sales tool, they can say that, okay, my uh, I got these many new leads. There's a quantifiable metric. I got these many new close this much new revenue. There's a quantifiable metric. You go to engineers, I saved 5 hours using this tool. When you go to product team or product manager, if I tell you that you used, I'll say random tool X to become efficient, you are not judged on that. You are not expected to be valued at that. Your goal is what did the DAU, engagement, adoption, revenue, all those metrics improve. Did you reduce churn? Did you increase revenue? That is not related to the product you are using. That is related to the product you are building. So it's very tough to connect these things. And lastly, uh, one thing which I learned after talking to so many people is everyone tries to show that they know the best, or they at least, you know, uh, even on social media, they'll be like posting things that this framework, that framework, uh, best practices. When you talk to them, everyone has imposter syndrome. Everyone is trying to save their ass. Everyone is just trying to figure it out. No framework works in reality. Everyone is just figuring it out.
That's very true. Almost all the product managers that I've talked to, all of them, they have this imposter syndrome. And we always chase the next big framework that is going to solve all of our problems, move the company forward, make our
Yeah.
customer happy. And there's no such thing.
Wait for next Marty's book and you'll see how people get crazy. I have sponsored his book last year, by the way. It's a great book and I have it there. But it's not gonna change your life or your company's life.
What do you see the biggest gaps in product management tools today?
I think product management really requires ground up innovation. The last ground up innovation which happened in product management was from waterfall to agile. After that, uh, everyone started becoming Scrum Master, Agile managers, and all those things. But after that, innovation or you can say ground up shaking did not happen in product management. And I think that is something which we need. No tool is currently able to do that. AI has that potential, and I'm pretty sure there will be a tool, Zeda or Jira or whatever, where AI becomes the core to assist, and that will change the product management. That is one. And second thing is almost all tools which I have been in the space building, buying, everything. They are trying to take one task and simplify it or make it better. Problem comes is while it's a good place to start with one, the product management on a day-to-day requires so many things. I mean, you know it. You have to talk to people, write things, update. Like there are so many undefined things which you have to do to make the machine working. That one tool is not able to become essential in your armor, except maybe a documentation tool which is essential. But no other tool is able to become 100% like, yes, I have to live in this tool.
You decided to compete against giants, Jira, product boards, other big players. How did you, as a team, as a company, get this conviction that you can go against those giants?
Uh, Surprisingly, when we started, uh, every investor asked us, "How are you going to be different? What's the?" And I just told them that you can open those tools and you can try to do product management there. Uh, it won't work. And then I told them that, tell me get me, okay, there's one thing you pay to PMs, you invite them to lunches, dinners, and you ask them to give good reviews on your, uh, to put it on the website. I have been in that game. Trust me, I know how that game works. Where people have, when I was in my previous companies, I have been invited to speaking events. I have been given wine bottles and all those things. You give that, you get a quote and you put it on your website. That's very simple. It's a $20-30 price which you pay. And uh, I know people are not gonna like it, and I have been in that journey, so but
Man, you're spilling industry secrets now.
so uh, but you call someone that, hey, uh, your team uses XYZ tool. I'm not taking any name, by the way. So just uh, so you use XYZ tool, and do you use it? And they're like, yeah, we have license. Do you use it daily? No. Uh, okay. When you use it, do you love it? It is there. We are forced to do it. Like, those are the words. There's a bootstrapped 100 million ARI company which has Fortune 500 customers. Amazing. But you ask them, do you like it? They're like, no, our CPO just mandated it. I don't know what the CPO got to mandate it, but uh, you go and talk to people at MongoDB or people at HP and ask the product management tool you use, do you like it? They'll be like, no. But I CPO, he came in new and he wants us to use this tool. That's the reality. So my conviction was not that these tools suck. My conviction was users are not happy. And if the user is not happy, there is still opportunity.
Correct.
Just give you one example on this, that there's this one company, startup, and they have been able to sell a lot of, you go and you see their website, good logos. By the way, whatever I'm saying is applicable to Zeda too. I just want to be clear here because that's how the game works. Some things we did different and better, or at least tried to be more. I never posted that we have 40,000 product teams using us. We had sign-ups of 10,000 plus people, but there are competition which post that every sign-up is, they say that is a user. But that's not true. You know that. A sign-up is not user. Unless and until someone is paying you and using you, you should not call them user. And people posted it. Another company which gave advisory shares to product leaders in those companies to get them a pilot. And when they got pilot, they just posted on their website. And then they got more customers. And I was talking to ex-employee of that company, and he was like, we never had any of those customers. They just gave us an Excel sheet, and we were just analyzing it manually. That's the situation.
Man, I have a lot of those stories where companies mandating us to use certain tools. I'm not gonna name those tools, but eventually we needed to get things done. So we had a lot of those internal Excel sheets,
Yeah.
and we were not actually using the tools.
And during the 2022 financial, when budget tight happened, you can see the revenue either getting flat or decline because people are not going to renew in 2023 or 24 because no one is using it. CFO is going to question it.
I heard you once talk about balancing speed versus depth in product management. What do you mean?
People go either direction, move fast, break things. That's one motto which Facebook had. Now they removed it, but it had, and Paytm had it in Office. When you move fast, you are not able to build depth. When I say depth, depth is in terms of user understanding, user pain point, user persona. You're just shipping, shipping, shipping. When you ship, there is one thing which, a person is saying that I need it, and you build it and ship it. They'll be momentarily happy. The other part is why they need it, why they are asking for it. What is the underlying root cause for that? You need to understand that. And can you actually provide a better solution to that, or could it be solved in other way? Or is it even needed to be solved? That is depth. Another part is just spending time on analyzing. Let's do A/B test that this color of blue works or that color of blue works. Dude, it doesn't matter honestly that much. Unless you are Google and you have billions of dollars to just get people and make 0.1% incremental difference and spend 10 people 6 months to figure that out, it doesn't matter. Blue is blue, just ship it. That happens. That's the two side. And I read a very good case study on that, and I'll tell you. If you see Japan is perfectionism. They try to put everything, and they put their honor and legacy on a craft. They might be just making a katana or a knife, and they'll spend hours and hours to perfect it. And it defines their lineage, it defines their culture and all. So they take it very seriously. But because of that, they are not able to innovate and move fast because you cannot do mistakes, and that's there. On the other hand, is India, where there's a word very commonly in
Jugad?
Jugaad, yes, where they talk it proudly. I'm Indian, by the way, so I can be, you can call me racist, so that is the, but when you do keep on doing Jugaad, you are not solving the problem at scale or depth. You're just putting bandages. And because the culture is so used to bandages that real innovation is getting missed out. That's the two extreme you should not be in. Neither in Indian mindset nor in Japan mindset. And I think USA does a good balance of it. That's why they are moving fast.
Man, Jugad is one of my favorite words. And I agree with you that Jugad probably not the right thing for scale. But I think in the product discovery part, when you need to do fix a few prototype together to see if it's actually useful, maybe this is a good way to be useful. And it's just an interesting example about the Japanese and their love for craft. And I think this is a great for delivery. When you're on the delivery stage, yeah, you need to think about scale, about how it looks like, about the customer experience, about everything, no?
I totally. I think everything which we talk should be considered with reference, meaning what is the situation of the company, situation of the product, need of the company. If you have a P0 breakdown, you cannot be trying to build depth. On the other hand, if you are launching on product hunt, you need to have a good experience. You cannot just be shipping shitty things just for the sake of shipping. So it's very contextual, and people try to take one thing, one story, and try to polish it everywhere. So it doesn't work that way.
You have a very interesting approach on raising money for the startup as well. Many startups just raise capital and spend aggressively. And why did you take a more cautious approach?
I think it came from our background. Money was always limited, so you are used to not spending money. So when you are not used to spending money, you try to be careful. Like we still reviewed every credit card transaction and what is it going for, is it necessary, and then making sure it is necessary. And second thing is the mindset. It's someone else invested in you and your dreams. You need to be respectful of that. You might fail as a startup, but at least don't misuse it. That was the thing. And even in our team, we were very clear. We give probably the top salaries or best salaries so that no one left Zeda, has ever left Zeda for salary because we compensated. We gave equity, but we never gave a ping pong table or something. We never, it was always the balance of that. So I think that approach was good. And secondly, more money causes more problem. I learned it hard way. Unless and until you're building a consumer product where you need to grow fast, where, if you cannot build a social media platform and not spend money in influencer marketing or other campaigns, you have to do it. But if you're building a SaaS business, more money might actually slow you down because you start experimenting on things which you don't need to. One of the thing we experimented, and in retrospect, I think wasted money, was optimizing the website a lot. Like we got a agency to create a video, design, development, uh, and then positioning, language, etc. Was it helpful? In retrospect, no. The increment value might be 10-20%, but the time and money was not necessary. But why did we spend it? Because we had money in the bank. When you have money in the bank, you are okay experimenting.
So you're making a case that sometimes not having too much money will make you more innovative.
Exactly. So when you don't, constraints forces you like to think out of the box, and it's tried and tested. You can take example stories of Notion, you can take stories of Google where they had to build
DeepSeek.
DeepSeek. Yeah, DeepSeek is the latest story where they literally had to innovate because they had money, by the way. They had $1 billion hedge fund, and the story is still evolving. But at least when people say they copied and they had all those things, they literally went on architecture level and changed the approach on from multi-headed attention architecture to latent architecture. So it was an innovation.
What is something that you wish you knew earlier raising money?
I think it's very, not all money is equal. That's one thing which I learned, where there are investors who will be hands-on, giving you feedback, you know, uh, helping you connect and all those things. And then there's a silent money where they're just giving you money, and they would not be hands-on. And both approaches are fine, and I think at different stages it helps differently. But having that understanding that not all money is going to be equal is very important. When we are starting up as a founder and someone comes and say that, here, take my $1 million and build, you are tempted to take that money and you want that money. But if you just explore it out more, you might get 500,000 from someone else, but more value in terms of network, in terms of connections, guidance, feedback. So that's one thing. Not all money is equal.
And something that you already touched upon it, but Zeda has like 4.6 on Glassdoor. What is the secret that keep your employees very happy and engaged?
Because they are not employees and they are teammates, one, where they are working on the same mission. So almost everyone at Zeda took a leap of faith. They had good paying jobs and offers, and we convinced them that please take a leap of faith. We made sure that they are not affected by any financial or constraints, so they can focus and do their best job. We were very transparent, like how much money is in bank, which customer, how much they're paying, what investment discussions are going on. Everything is shared every week. So we have monthly sync on that, and then every weekly sync. We try to appreciate them when they do good work, and also be critical of their work. Challenging people well enough that they feel slightly uncomfortable is very important. Lastly, trusting them. We have had people who wanted to leave the company to go do masters, and we told that whatever you're going to learn in masters, take a course online and we'll let you practice it here, so that you don't have to spend thousands of dollars, $100,000 to get a degree. Just learn it here. uh, Getting everyone a experienced coach and mentor so that they can upskill themselves, getting all the books and courses they need to learn about product management or any other thing they want to learn, making sure that they can give feedback to us. Like they can say that, hey Prashant, you are doing wrong, or Weber, you are doing wrong. And that's totally acceptable. Treating them as a teammate is the key, I'll say, not employee.
And there is something that you do is very unique, inspired by the Silicon Valley culture, which is you openly share financials with employees, and how this radical transparency shaped your culture.
The good thing is, because they know every where we are spending money, they can say why are we doing it, and we also can then question back. Okay, because then we have to think again, why are we doing it? They know that how important our runway is, how important each customer becomes. So they give extra 100% on that. So because they know that this is the money in bank, this is going to be the customer who's going to add this more to the runway. They know that value of things. How much does our rent cost? How much does each laptop cost? How much does everything cost? So they value it. Don't take it for granted. They are getting treated equally, because people with similar experience or similar background will be paid equal. They don't have to think that, oh, am I getting paid more than or less than someone else? No, they are almost equal. That transparency actually remove unnecessary thinking. So you don't have to think about those things which might bother you, and you can do your best work. And the things which bother you, those are like runway, customer value, which will push you to do more better work. So it works in both ways. Unnecessary things get taken care, necessary things get more focus.
You built a great team, built a great culture. Your product was highlighted on Product Hunt, TechCrunch. You had tons of customers on the product. You raised 4.7 million,
3.7.
3.7 million, and last month you announced that you'll be shutting Zera down. Again, thank you so much for agreeing to coming on the podcast. I know the emotions are still very raw, but how did you guys came to take this decision?
It's so this decision is more like, they call it happened slowly and then suddenly. We had been trying for 4 years. more than 4 years. There are companies which have been trying for 7, 8 years, 10 years, and we could see that there's no hockey stick curve in this category or industry. If you take any startup which have raised money in past, you will see that they are either flat or decline or just slowly growing. Venture scale startups require a hockey stick at some point of time. We couldn't see that hockey stick coming even in 6 months or 1 year. So we have money, we can keep on playing, we can just experimenting. But is it worth the money for team, investors, even customers? That was the question. Just because of our conviction, our dream, you should not be wasting other people's time and money. Second thing is there need to be a internal motivation that, hey, or some light at the end of the tunnel, which you are looking at and you are going toward that light. What I see in product management category as of now, and I don't want to take name, but if you take any tool which has raised money, or even YC had 5 companies funded in last couple of years, most of them have been either acquired or shut down, or they are struggling. Because when I announced on LinkedIn day before yesterday, I have been reached out by almost 10 competitors, and I am meeting most of them, and I'm having calls because they now tell me that they are also having similar thoughts. Would love to,
Wow.
yeah, I am not even kidding. And because when we were selling, we were deciding to take this decision, we also explored acquisition. And I can tell you, even the bigger companies, which are very well off and raised hundreds of millions of dollars, they have done multiple round of layoffs. Either are figuring out themselves what to do because it's hard category. Product management is a hard category. That's the bottom line. I wanted to take a moment to, not a moment, but time to revisit it differently. Maybe think that is this the right category? If this is the right category, I'm still passionate about product management and making it better for everyone. And I posted on LinkedIn and there are like 75,000 views and 700, 800 uh, likes and 500 comments. And people are saying that we were hoping that this will change their product management. And I was like, I wish, man. I really wish, because that's what my dream is. Maybe it requires a different approach, and that approach, mm, like I said, I will take all the lessons and learning from this journey to figure out that different approach.
So you didn't really run out of money. So I'm assuming
No,
that you returned some money to investors,
yes,
and but you did not see light at the end of the tunnel, as you said, and you decided to shut off the company. Again, I'm just curious. How did that made you feel when you decided, no, guys, we shut it off? That must have felt horrible.
uh, I can tell you it sucks. You you try to come up with reasons not to take that decision because you have money in the bank. You can run the company for 2 years more, technically, that type of money. You still have paying customers to whom you have to say that, uh, please find another tool. You literally have to tell the team that, hey, 3 more months and then you can find a job or whatever. Uh, so it's not easy decision. And also think this way. You know me as a founder of Zeda. Most people know me as founder of Zeda, and most people know Zeda as Prashant. So there's 4 connected personalities. Letting go of your persona, your identity. You're letting go of your identity, and it's not easy. I'm still trying to come out of that. And probably that's the second time I literally had tears when I decided to. One was when we did layoff, I think last to last year, and the second was when I was writing that email and sending to investors and team that, hey, I may be wrong. I again, like everything I say, you know, all the decisions you get to know in hindsight. That was it a right decision or wrong decision? What you try to do as a founder is, with all the information you have and with all the skills you knowledge or intelligence you have acquired, you try to take the right decision. No founder willingly, I mean, there are founders which try to scam and all, but no founder willingly tries to take a wrong decision for the company, because if the company succeeds, I am going to make the most money. I am going to get the most credit. I am going to be successful. I am going to be famous. So why would you take a wrong decision willingly? And there's no way you do it. So at that moment or that information, that intelligence, I thought that's the right decision.
And how did your co-founder supported you with that decision as well?
He has been on board. Like me and my co-founder talk every day. Like for last 5 years, we have talked every day. I'm sure we joke this that we have not talked every day with our partners, but we have talked with each other every day. So it wasn't a like my decision. It was a our decision. I found out.
Even when I approached if you're the employees that left the company or still with the company and they involved, they all had great things to say about you and the company as well. And I'm sure that this is something that you're proud of, even though the company is no longer there.
I every one of my employee, you can see the comments. People have said that that was the best uh, career decision for them also. Um, Everyone we are still connected, and they whenever whichever job they got, they sent me a message, they called me, they discussed with me. Every one still, that's one thing which I'm happy that we did not do wrong to anyone. Uh, we tried our best, so that's good thing. We might have done we did mistake, not might, we did mistakes. And mistakes are mistakes because we didn't know when we did that mistake. In retrospect, we got to know, and we take full ownership of those mistakes, apologize, and agree that those were our mistakes and we could have done better. The trust and the bond, like I said, was not as a employee-employer, but more like a teammate. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And again, I tried to approach several employees, and all of them had only the best thing to say. But you mentioned that you've done some mistakes. Do you feel comfortable talking or give an example any of those mistakes that you could have done differently?
Yes, there are. I actually wrote a very long post on my mistakes, and I'll share with you separately. Um, but few of them which I remember or which I can share is one, when we started, we tried to go very broad. Like I said, product management requires so many small things, and we thought we can solve it all. We wasted time, effort. It wasn't a good decision. We should have started narrow. Some hiring mistakes we did where we either hired early or hired did not see the right fit. So what happens is, again, everyone writes that you need to hire the top talent. I agree, you need to hire the top talent. But now imagine, so there's this, yesterday only you go to Twitter and you go to South Park comments, post, Vinod Khosla came and he uh, had said this that startups die not because of wrong market, but because of wrong team. I agree. But now imagine a founder who just have a 500,000 and the smartest people are getting poached by Google and Meta for millions of dollars. This person have to literally convince them to leave their dreams, leave their family, like compromise on the certain parts, take a leap of faith. I just have $1 million and I'll be able to pay you very less of that. That is one. You reduce the pool, first of all. Very few people can take that risk. Second, you might know when I'll take my example. I interview 100,000 people, let's say, and I find I hire the best out of that 1,000 people. Now, because I need to ship fast, I have a deadline coming of product hunt or whatever that is, I need to close this role. I cannot just spend 1 year trying to figure out the best talent. Uh, because if I spend so much time, I'm not going to make progress. So I interview 1,000 people, and again I'm saying no founder will go, oh, I interviewed 1,000 people, let me hire the 10th best person and not the first. You are going to hire the best person. Then you move to Silicon Valley and other parts of the world, and you see your the out of those 1,000 people you chose the best, but out of the 10,000 people, he might not be the best. So then you see that okay, the talent level changes. So I think all those advices are very uh, good to listen, but hard to execute when you're in the game. So we did hiring mistakes where we hired wrong people. And third, I would say probably a mistake. I should have had more. So there's a very critical thing in a startup called momentum and agency, whatever people want to call, which we had huge spike. Then when we were plateauing, we should have continued with that spike, with that energy. I think in between, during 4 5 years of the journey, there was a time when we reduced the urgency or we got comfortable, and then we were never able to pick it back, or at least with that same acceleration. So you are going this, you plateau, and then you just do this. You are not able to go back again. So I think that's one mistake which we did.
You're thinking that the team that used to have urgency, and you talk about the level of execution was really high, and then you kind of the team got comfortable.
Yes. And that I'm not blaming it on team, by the way. I'm blaming I did mistake that I should have kept pushing the urgency and momentum.
To be very honest with you, this is something I'm suffering from my current startup. I know how to coach product management. I know how to coach leadership. Again, leadership is something I'm still learning as well. But I don't know how to coach ownership and urgency and agency. What do you think, as a head of product, the things I need to do in the company?
I think I honestly I'm trying to learn too on this so we can together learn. But one, having in ourselves, like people will get uncomfortable when you push them and challenge them, and we should be okay with they getting uncomfortable. There's like as long as you are communicating your intention well, it's okay. So that is one thing. You keep your agency momentum high. If people are not doing, challenge them. If they are uncomfortable, tell them your thought process, your side of story, and why you are doing it. If they still are uncomfortable, it's fine. Not everyone is meant for that. So we should be able to take the hard call. I think that is one thing we try to be good with people. I don't think that's uh, the right approach. At least your first uh, goal should be keeping that momentum. Second thing is uh, telling people, bringing in the motivation inside the people. So what happens is agency is not something which you can learn. It's something comes from inside. It's not something which you can uh, just tell people, hey, let's do it more, let's do it fast. Again, they won't be able to do. It need to come from inside that I have to do it. I have to be the best. I can do it. And if I don't, what is going to be the consequence?
So you're saying as a leader, the sense of urgency should comes from myself first, and I should be okay with having those uncomfortable conversation with people.
Yes. And then second, trying to build bring up that agency from the people within by telling them the impact of their work, consequences of not having agency, aligning their motivation with the company goal and outcome, and also trying to reduce friction. Why don't they have agency? That's a question you should ask, that why are you not doing it? Because I'll tell you one thing, and I read it on Twitter recently, and I did it with my designer, and he can tell you he never did that mistake. And again, uh, was, hey, I know, let's say you are PM and you write a PID and you come to me, Prashant, there's a PID, and I see that you haven't put your enough thought, enough, uh, it has issues. I say, Mahmood, you're such a smart person, and I have seen you work, and that's why I hired you in the first place. This PID has multiple issues. I'm just giving you few example, one, two, three, and I'm disappointed. I know you can do better. is this really the best work you can do? I mean, these are very simple things you could have seen, you could have reread. If I have to tell you this, then it's not something which you are doing justice to yourself nor me. And think about it, that do you want to become the best PM, or you just want to get this PRD written? And then you bring that fire inside the person, I think. Because I did
Ma-
this. Yeah, go ahead.
Man, I'm not even a designer in your team, and I feel like, no, I should not disappoint you. I
So,
mean, I feel, no, I should have done a better job. Why I did not see it? And not even a designer in your team yet.
for the designer, what happened was, uh, there's this there's this one icon which was 2 pixels misaligned, and I was like, "D- this is misaligned. You can't see it." And it's like, "Oh yeah, I see it." I'm like, "This is something which Figma makes it by default. You can." I just put a paper. I took a paper. I just put the paper, and I was like, "You see this line is not fitting." He's like, "Yes." I'm like, "If you knew this and you did not make it's been released went 1 week back and you did not make the change, how are you sleeping at night? Like, you should, when I see your Figma and I can tell you this is wrong, you see your Figma every day and you know this is wrong, and still you go back home and sleep peacefully. That's not a great artist does. And if that's the, you don't want to be that, it's fine, but I expected you to be the one.
Bro, I'm taking this advice. I'm having a meet tomorrow, team meeting tomorrow with all of my company. uh,
So, yeah.
there's something very interesting I've noticed, which is your writing is very phenomenal, by the way, and you have a very unique voice when you write. I'm interested to know what's your relation to writing and when did you start writing?
Honestly, I genuinely, uh, I don't write to write. There are a lot of people who are writing on LinkedIn to get audience and things like that.
That was
So
me. That was me years ago. Yeah.
I I never write on this framework or that to get people. Whenever um, I write what I feel, and in very authentic way, because I don't use AI to write. I might use Grammarly to correct the grammar mistakes, but I don't write it to get audience or put it out. So what happens is, uh, and it's almost always a personal experience, like some trigger point. And I have written normal posts, they don't work. Whenever I write my own experience and something which is very genuine, uh, they perform very well. Like, I get decent enough uh, analytics on that.
Writing is something that I wish I learned earlier as well. So I'm an engineer by training, and I had an English course back in college, and I did not take it seriously. And only years later, when I started to write, then I started to discover that clear writing is synonymous with clear thinking.
I am actually trying to do that. That's one of the checklist. Um, there are a couple of things going on, but I have written this thing for me, that I have to write more. This is this year's resolution. Write more, not for public, but uh, on just a notion or something for myself, that my thoughts. Because, by the way, this is you, when you start writing a lot, at least long form content, you, like you said very clearly, that you need to think more and you question more. And it is very helpful to arrange your thoughts very well. And this is something I need to get better at, and hopefully I will check in with each other and keep each other accountable. Did you write or not? And share each other.
Absolutely. Last year, I created a writing group, WhatsApp group, and we were supposed to finish at least 200 word daily. I was working on a book. So after a year and a half, I finished my book. It's like a little bit about product management. Um, so the book was shit. I did not publish it, and I probably never publish it. And I realized there's two type of writing. There's writing that you do for your own self to clarify thinking, and there's writing that to be read. And I've seen that, and I've gained so much value out of writing this book just for me. And the act, as you mentioned, when you write down your argument, you start to stress test this argument. Why I believe this? And because when you think about your arguments, you cannot really judge them. But when you
Hmm.
either talk to them with a friend or have them a piece of paper, or no, why do I think like this? How can I express this more clearly? And after interviewing so many authors, I think for a product manager, I think writing is so underrated.
I That is one skill every PM should have. They should write, like people say, day as a life of PM and all those things. I think one thing you can do in your day of PM is 30-minute writing and 30-minute reading, and not and that should be long form content, not a Jira ticket or something, or it should it may not be just product management, anything, just 30 minutes when you wake up, right? 30 minutes before you go to sleep, read, and you'll be better than 99% of the PMs. I kid you not. And by the way, you should definitely publish book. I'm have this something to write on the future of PM, but I'm not able to start. It's a great thing you wrote, and the point which you mentioned, writing for yourself versus writing for others, uh, I'm trying to get better at it, and this is one uh, we both agree, and I'm sure every smart person will agree. You should write more, read more.
To be very honest with you, now I have a idea for a new book, and I'm not sleeping at all. And I've spoken with all of my friends. I'm like, please, can someone write this book? Please, can someone write the book? Because I don't want to write it. Because for the 1 year and a half of writing this book, it was the hardest thing I ever done. Because there is nothing more excruciating.
Yeah,
Just sit for 2 hours just to write.
it is. It teaches you patience. It's like a meditation, man. If you're trying to become more focused and clearer, you should do it. And so here's a thing which I'm gonna try it out. I'm not that rich, but I read about a person who wanted to finish a script. So he just booked a flight from San Francisco to Singapore and then back Singapore just to write so that there's no internet. And I think uh, during my next trip, I'm gonna try it out. Just not any media, nothing, just write.
Man, I'm excited to see more of your writing. But you mentioned that you have a checklist for this year. Writing is one of them. I'm just curious to know the rest.
Uh, the other thing is I want to travel more. That's something I love, different cultures, history. Uh, so the one goal, like I told you, visiting Central Asia, Middle East to understand the culture there, love the food and just want to experience it. America is another. Writing, and I'm actually playing chess a lot. So every day I spend time playing chess. Getting better at it would be goal. These are three. I don't want to have a lot of them because then I'll not achieve. So just sticking with these.
Man, a lot of people romanticize startups. And what is the one thing that you wish more aspiring founders understand?
The word romanticizing, a lot of people, when they think about startup and the feeling is like, oh, I'll be a cool founder and all that. It's like seeing a hot other gender person and you're just having that feeling to make out and all. Love requires sacrifices. Love requires patience. It requires time. You may not fall in the love with the hottest person or the anything like that. You enjoy the company. And that's true for startup too. You are not going to just start a startup for 6 months and then make a quick money. No. You are going to be in this journey for probably I spent 5 years. And 5 years in your 20s is probably the prime time of your life. Like from 27 to 32, it's the prime time of your life. You're spending that. Be careful like where you're spending your time because time is not gonna come back for sure. Like I'm never gonna be 27 again. So whatever decision you take, think you are going to be committed for 5 to 10 years, 10 years minimum for this. And are you willing to do that commitment? And that's very important. And second thing is, it's going to be shitty, it's going to be uh, ups and downs, but it's going to be worth it if you commit to it. I think this was the best 5 years of my life. I learned more, I became better human, I just everything positive I can say. Uh, but this was the hardest time of my life too. So you are in for a ride. Whatever you see, YC, they're like just if you see most of the YC startups, they are currently just starting up and then going down. So uh, you need to be very careful that are you building it for yourself personally? That years and years of effort, problem, user persona, the good and bad of it, you are committing to it or not. I think that's very important for young founders or people, aspiring founders who are planning to start out.
Man, thank you so much for this unfiltered answer, and especially from someone who have done that and walked that walk. Yes.
Yes, I think that's very important. Don't chase fame. That if you're chasing a fame and if you're just trying to doing it for the purpose that, hey, I want to become the next Steve Jobs. He wasn't trying to become the next Steve Jobs. He was just trying to fall.
And how can someone know if they're truly ready to be a founder?
You will never be. You will never know. If people know, trust me, if you knew you are ready to be a founder, the industry would be much simpler. But that's why it's a risky industry. 90% startups fail. And that's just stats. I'm not even making it up. 90% people fail. So chances are if you're starting, 10 people are, you're in a room of, batch of Wi-Fi or any other batch, whichever you want to join, and you're going to a startup conference or something. Uh, if let's say 100 people are in that room, only 10 are gonna make it, according to stats. Only 10 are gonna make it. And out of those 10 also, only 5 are going to be super successful. So that's the stat. So you don't know when you are ready. If people knew you are ready, VC's life would be much better. Banks would be chasing you that, hey, you are ready. Like they chase me that you are ready for a home loan, take a loan. They'll be chasing me that you are ready to start a startup, do it. But you are ready when you have spent enough time understanding the persona, the problem. You are going beyond and above from your work to talk to users, trying to figure out if it's going to work it. You are spending time in understanding market. You're not, you have gathered more information than anyone in your network about that particular problem in persona and market. You are not able to sleep and you are spending every time thinking. Uh, and then you know that there's also, by the way, a component of financial and other things. Let's call it operation when you know that you have enough money to survive for 6 months to 1 year. You have enough a partner who can fulfill your complementary skill. Like I'm not a coder. I found Weber who's could do coding. So all those things coming together when you have that right mixture of complementary skills, problem, understanding of pain point, market, and you are like, if I don't do it, someone else will do it and I'll regret it. Then you are ready.
What's next for you now?
Oh, good question. I'm trying to figure it out. That's why I'm both. Uh, I am talking to a couple of companies because of I want to go back to building. I'm going to be product manager for life, I think. So I'm gonna go back to building again. Uh, I don't want to jump to another startup idea. Just again, a lot of people DM me, we are starting, would you like to join? And I'm like, I want to take time to build my conviction for a problem. And I currently don't have that conviction. So probably a couple of interesting discussions I'm having are where either problem is very smart, like something which I know is going to be very big from talking to those companies, or where they are ready to make me entrepreneur in residence. Like you have the financial support of the company and you're leading their AI or other strategies. So either of this direction is something I'm quite uh, interested, because man, starting on your own takes so much time, energy, and hard work. If I'm able to start in a bigger company, that would be perfect.
Man, this is my new favorite episode. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and being very transparent and unfiltered and telling those stories, the ups and downs. In the startup words, we always say that we celebrate the ups and downs, but nobody really talked about the downs. We all
Yeah,
celebrate the big successes, and people have this misconception that all entrepreneurship life are like this.
I think that's one problem which founders should, like current founders should do, tell how gritty it is, how, how hard it is, so that people can get a true picture, not the glamorous picture. So, but I think Mahmood, you did a great job, and thanks for inviting me. I'm glad, honestly honored to be on this podcast. The other guests have been so amazing and much more successful than me. So I was like, am I really going to be on this? And like I told you, I had seen your podcast and your work earlier too.
Man,
And
thank you so much for coming on the podcast and being very transparent. I know that we only scratched the surface, and how can our audience be of helpful to you? Should we direct them to your blog post, your LinkedIn? How can they connect with you?
LinkedIn. I am most active there. So just put the LinkedIn link. I actually honestly take time to reply to every message I get, and I get on call with, like I told you, honestly saying there are my calendar for is filled for next 2 weeks, because people are like, we are starting a startup for PM. Would love to get your feedback and hear your thoughts. And there are 20 people, startup founders who reached out, and I have said yes to all, because I genuinely believe when I started a, I come from a background where I don't have any brother or sister. Like you said, I'm the first one in the family to do a tech job, and I lack mentorship, so I try to give it uh, to others, and I don't charge top mate links and all those $10, $100, whatever that is. And just that helping other people, I feel maybe one day they'll help me, so that's it, or they'll help someone else.